seem as though her and Savannah have, a deep enough connection that goes beyond just the work um, related connection, covering stories at the same network or whatever the case was. She, it's almost like she wanted to make it seem like she has someone's blessing within the family to speak. Am I off for thinking that? Am I off for thinking that? So now we have that. The other part that I wanted to bring in is the fact that Nancy has been, um, she was last seen in her Arizona like neighborhood, right? Apparently, in that neighborhood, it also is a place where dead bodies are found all the time. So they're adding this little spooky element to it, like, oh my God, the immigrants. Now we know what's going on by the border. Like I said, the border crisis is a big thing that they're going to use as an excuse to expedite. And I'm starting to see how they're going to do that through this case. I said that Savannah was most likely going to be like some type of structure in politics. She may move away from news and go into politics in some way to create new legislation or reforms for things that have to do with this case. And that could touch on so many different things. It could touch on how the operations or how, procedures go in county department police departments. This could also cover um how the procedures are for reporting someone missing and the action that's received, the resources. There's a list of things. She could create a Nancy Guthrie law for something, something about checking immigrants who are sex offenders. There's going to be a list of different things that come from this situation. I also mentioned something about her possibly suing a police department, but now that they have arrested, or no, now that they had brought in someone for questioning last night and mistakenly picked up, quote unquote, the wrong person, right? There may be some type of case that comes up from that where he sues, like his family sues the state. It's just a way for a lawyer or some type of attorney to hit a lick, so they're going to most likely do that. That's probably going to be a play. But again, don't get too caught up with the chaos. The chaos is meant to distract you. Okay. So you're going to hear a lot of people say, oh, this is a distraction. This is a distraction. And to some degree it is, but it really isn't. It's like actually the main event. This is actually better than a lot of the entertainment shows that they have, created in studios, to be honest, like our real life situation right now. And now we have to play detective Nancy Drew as we try to pick apart every Carlos. Now they've been posting, it's almost like they need to make a meme of like, is this the Carlos that we're looking for? Is this, like, because they picked up or they have been showing 3, 4 different faces of Hispanic men. So what do you think that is? Some level of program in there. It's all meant to create the perfect narrative. Now, the narrative that I'm saying and building upon as far as it relates to Bad Bunny and the Super Bowl, this is how they're going to also maybe crack down on ICE and maybe the who are those people? The National Guards might go down there again. I know I was picking up on a story of like JD Vance having, or Trump trying to use JD Vance as a way to um oh, that brings me to something else. Trump trying to use JD Vance to kind of like handle, manage the stuff that has anything to do with like border stuff, domestically or international like stuff. I don't know how to explain it. I'm that's how I'm seeing it simply. It's like he's being used to do certain things that maybe Trump doesn't want to do or may not be the best person for at the time, just by energy and just how he is. It may not be the best situation for him to be in the room. Um Now, I did see something about that possibly there could be another. crazy event. We are slightly due for some type of crazy event. I don't know. I don't think the Kirk situation and even these ice deaths in Minnesota are enough. The American people are not mad enough. Um, we are underreacting, if you ask me, and I feel like part of that is because we have not been shook to the core. And I think they're not really fully going to tell what's going on, but they have to show it so that we know, like, subconsciously what's going on. And I'm pretty sure that there are Mexican cartel sprinkled all throughout this country. That border fence barrier situation card that keeps coming out in some of these readings that I've been doing, I think is talking about how, like, there is such a blurred line between the two territories that one is going to try to overcome the other. One has already started. They are already here. This helps me kind of frame how I want to go into this next series after I cover the Nancy Guthrie case. I am going into a new series and I'm calling it The Pirates of Khazaria. And I'm not going to elaborate more. I'm going to show through images like they do. And we're just going to discuss certain things without it being too, like, definitive, because I realize um the movement that we're about to see is going to be so interesting. I'm not even going to say crazy. I'm just going to say so interesting. This is a large scale mission that they're trying to keep under wraps. They do not want people to panic about the fact that we have already been overtaken, and it's not by one group. They're going to try to make it maybe one group, or, create these other narratives of what other phantom groups could possibly exist. But the truth of the matter is that yes, we have been sold out to other countries, and they want to claim their real estate. Okay. And it's multiple countries. So keeping us in with a fence is meant for more than one thing, okay? These discussions of people being in concentration camps and them being foreigners technically, but they've been living here their whole life. Like, nobody's talking about the concentration camps, and why would there be discussion if you can't gain access to something like that? That is a high security operation, or whatever it is that they have going on, because it goes beyond just being contained and jailed. Okay? We know what happened with Hitler. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to just start that series at some point. I told you I do want to wrap up these readings that I have for Nancy Guthrie, because I'm going to, come out with the closer. I'm going to analyze two things and then, try to not predict, but try to decipher what the possible outcome or the trajectory of the outcome would be. Um, but yeah, I will see you guys in the next reading. I just wanted to come and chat, give you my little theory. I hope that I know I danced around on purpose. That is on purpose, okay? I feel like I don't have time to really lay out things verbatim. Sometimes my messages are for the people who are astute enough to take in the message, okay? Um, and just know, you can decipher in between the lines what I'm talking about. And I'm saying it very plainly. A lot of what I'm saying is just very plain and factual. Um, just the unfortunate thing is that I think the narrative is going to be interesting, okay? And nobody has control over it. That's all I'm going to say. Nobody has control over the narrative right now. All right. I love you.